Episode 109, Coffee with John and Christine Certain.
Today is gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day.
Well, welcome, friends, to Coffee with John. This is a podcast for technology innovators, professional and family caregivers, academic researchers, and social workers. You know, if you are influencing healthcare, especially for the aging community, we want you to join the conversation. Well, one of the areas of tremendous innovation is telehealth. And with the advancements in technology in recent years, world-class healthcare is becoming readily available in many hard-to-reach and underserved areas of the country. Now, behavioral healthcare can never get enough attention. Often it is a part of healthcare that we forget about, and we suffer from it later on as it manifests. Well, today, we're going to have a conversation about behavioral telehealth care services. But first, a good word for caregivers.
God cares for caregivers. Remember, He's one too. Remember the old song, What a Friend We Have in Jesus? And then it says, carry everything to Him in prayer. So that means everything. If it's in Hebrew or in Greek or in English, it means everything. Take it all to Him. Just call out to Him. Cast your care on Him because He cares for you. It was Jesus who said in John's Gospel, you may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. So I guess I'm wanting to tell you it's time to pray. Why worry when you can pray? Trust Jesus. He'll be your stay. Don't be a doubting Thomas. Trust fully in God's promise. Why worry when you can pray? And you can pray. It's just as simple as a conversation that you share with Him right now. Talking to Him and saying, you're my friend. Oh, Jesus, you're my friend. I'm carrying everything to you and I'm going to cast it on you in prayer. And He's going to say, good. That's exactly what I want you to do. So do it right now. It's a good time. God cares for caregivers. Remember, He's one too.
Welcome back to Coffee with John. Today we're having coffee with Christine Certain. Now, Christine serves as the Senior Director of Clinical Impact and Business Development at Children's Home Society of Florida. She is a leader in innovative healthcare solutions and is responsible for overseeing clinical partnerships that increase efficiencies and drive the impact of health services. Christine led the implementation of the telehealth business line with more than 200 therapists and physicians. She is a recognized expert in breaking down barriers to care for Florida's most underserved children. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John, and thank you for having me on the show today. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. Now, the first question that I have is, can you define behavioral health, and then how are you innovating with telehealth?
Sure. So I think that's a great question, and definitely one worth going over is the definition of behavioral health services. So often we think of behavioral health and mental health as really the deep end diagnoses and people with pretty chronic and severe conditions. But what we don't think about are all of the opportunities that we have to serve people who are maybe just adjusting to new life situations and struggling with it. There was a study out of New Zealand that I'm particularly fond of, which reported that 83% of participants by the age of 16 had met diagnostic criteria for one mental health condition. And I think that's a number that really shows when we look at the true breadth and depth of mental health diagnoses, how many of us suffer from them in our lives.
I'm always focused on caregivers, people that are, they've had some sort of traumatic event with a loved one. Maybe what's happened is a life event has created some sort of crisis. Is that a good place for these people?
Absolutely. So many of the people that we work with and we serve at Children's Home Society are people who have experienced life events. One of the areas we do a lot of work in actually is trauma care. If you have heard before, a great area to look into is the Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey.
Okay.
It's this really brief and easy to understand and read assessment that we talk to people about. It's only 10 questions. And if you answer yes to a question, you get 1 point. If you answer no, you get 0 points.
Got it.
With the understanding that the higher your score is on an ACE assessment, the more traumatic experiences you've been exposed to in your life. And what is fascinating about that is when they take people's ACE scores, which is about those life events, so often involving caregivers, and they look at health outcomes all the way through their lives, what they find is the more traumatic events a person is exposed to, the more likely they are to develop these chronic health conditions, a lot of which seemingly to kind of just the naked eye, they seem unrelated, but they find in testing and retesting this assessment tool over and over the same results. So for example, autoimmune conditions. You are markedly more likely to be diagnosed with an autoimmune condition when you have a higher ACE score. So a number closer to that 10 range than the 0 range. So what we do when we offer behavioral health services, so much of what we do is build resilience in our clients.
Yes.
We all have things that happen to us in our lives, but how are we resilient? How do we bounce back? That's what we try and focus on.
Now, traditionally, if someone wanted to, engage with these services, they would have to find a therapist, book an appointment, go to that location, a lot of time and scheduling involved. How has technology really helped make these services available, especially to kind of, underserved communities and, maybe, financially desperate communities?
You're absolutely right. Not only is it a lot of time and sometimes a large wait list that you're looking at and weeks to months of delay to see a provider who accepts your insurance, but I think it's also the scariness of driving to someone's office and engaging in counseling when you've never done that before.
Nothing more fun than I'm having a problem, which is already a problem, and now I have to go to some stranger's office and sit down in a very uncomfortable environment.
Absolutely. Oh, it can be nerve-wracking, the thought of going to a strange office, sitting down and talking to someone that you've never met before, and you don't know what kind of questions they're going to ask. And a lot of times our behavioral health and mental health issues that we're presenting with include anxiety, right? So we're anxious, we're nervous anyway. And now we have the fear of being in someone's office, being asked questions, and like, how do we escape if it gets to be too much, right? And so a lot of people just won't engage in services. For a good number of times, they'll even make the appointment and then not be able to make it in that day for the appointment because the anxiety gets to be too much.
Right. And that creates a ripple effect because now there's less availability, right? Because people are canceling appointments. So it just sort of becomes this, self-fulfilling prophecy where it becomes more and more difficult to engage with the services.
Right. And behaviorally, what happens is as people cancel appointments, they're conditioning themselves into kind of this escape behavior and making that counseling session seem more and more scary every time they book an appointment and then cancel it. So you're right. It's a ripple effect. It's a cycle. It's definitely something that we want to help people overcome. We want to break down that stigma and make healthcare, including mental health care, a lot more accessible for people and a lot less scary. And to me, the reduction in the scary factor, as I call it, because we work so much with kids and teenagers, that's what's great about telehealth services. We've had a number of teenagers who have said, They will not go to someone's office. They are not okay with the provider coming to their house, because both of those are very scary. But when we say, well, what if they're on your smartphone? What if you could essentially FaceTime with this counselor? And if at some point it gets to be too much and it's too scary and you don't like them, or they ask too many questions, you have permission to just hang up, and they won't call you back, and they won't make you talk to them, and you can just end the appointment right there.
Wow, that is so incredibly empowering. Incredibly empowering.
It really is. And so the teenagers who have said no across the board, these are teenagers who a lot of times aren't going to school because the anxiety is so bad. They're not engaging in the activities that they used to. This is something that they'll say yes to. And that's the really exciting part, is they say yes, they meet with this counselor. They end up not hanging up on the counselor the first appointment, because it's never as scary as you make it out to be in your head, right?
Right. And once you get past that first one, now you're starting to, hey, this is not an unpleasant experience, and the next one becomes easier. And ultimately that's where recovery and resiliency is built.
Absolutely. And really, usually it's within the first 5 or 10 minutes of meeting the counselor, they say, wow, this person's actually really nice, and they're not scary, and they're not asking me these terrible questions and forcing me to talk about things I don't want to talk about. They see that counseling is there to be a supportive and non-judgmental relationship, which we tell people all the time, but until you feel it and you try it yourself, it doesn't always seep in that it is that beneficial, helpful relationship.
So put yourself in the position of someone that's sort of an innovator in an organization, and they're thinking about rolling out teleservices. It could be behavioral services or whatever. As you rolled this out, what were some of the issues and the questions that you needed to deal with? Everything from HIPAA compliance and just within the organization. We'd never done it this way before. What are some words of advice that you could give to other technology innovators that are in the healthcare space?
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, and this really goes with any healthcare innovation or project that you take on, is you have to find the right people in your organization, the people who think outside the box, the people who never say, no, we can't, who say, let's find a way to, let's think differently. So we can't do what we typically do. We will find ways to go around that. And then finding a vendor partner who can help with things like HIPAA compliance and security and has that figured out. It's not about building your own solution, but finding someone who will work with you to do something that supports the mission, vision, and innovation that you're trying to stand up at your organization.
Love it. Love it. So here's kind of my last question, and it's a little bit of a signature question, and that is, what keeps you up at night? And you can feel free to answer it in one of either ways or both, which is, what keeps you up? I'm worried. I see this. I see, this kind of event on the horizon that concerns me or worries me. Or what keeps you up and that you're just so excited that you can't sleep at night? So what keeps you up?
So I would say what keeps me up is the opportunity that we have to help people today that we did not have before. There are so many doors that have opened with technology, with innovative thinkers, with thought leaders in the healthcare space. I believe that we are going to focus more, as just even in the next 3 years, on how we're designing our software, how we're designing our platforms, and how we're designing our hardware. I think we're going to see more devices as usable and accessible as an iPhone, and do away with a lot of the bulky, clunky technology that so often consumers, users, patients are scared of when they think about integrating technology into their healthcare.
Love it. Yeah, just things that just get in the way of of what you're really trying to accomplish.
Yes, which will lead to healthier kids, healthier families, and breaking cycles that we know are not good for us. So I'm excited. That's what keeps me
I love it. I love talking to people that are excited about what's coming up. Well, Christine, thank you so much for joining us for a cup of coffee. Thank you for letting us know how you're using technology and being a part of this.
Thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Well, if you want to learn more about how Children's Home Society is using online counseling, you can visit them from the links in the show notes for this episode at coffeewithjohn/109. Well, if you found this episode valuable, please do us a favor and subscribe to Coffee with John in iTunes and leave an honest rating. If you'd like to listen to previous episodes, visit us at coffeewithjohn.com. That's coffeewithjohn.com. Also, if you have comments, ideas, and topic suggestions, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. All of the links are at coffeewithjohn.com.